Okay, let's talk about day one of the regular season before tonight, where the real chaos begins and almost the entire league is playing. We'll start with the Celtics. They ran a lot more. And I remember in the playoffs, even as they got to game six of the finals, there were moments where when the half court offense was having trouble, and from what I remember, that usually happened when teams were switching a little bit more, whether it be the Bucks, the Warriors, the Heat, or whatever. And then before you know it, there's like 7 seconds on the shot clock, and Tatum or Jayson or whatever just have to create something out of nothing. Well, sometimes just running and not allowing yourself to get into those positions in the first place can be a good thing. So that was a good sign. And I think Jayson would be the one who can benefit the most out of that. I will get to the Sixers in a second here, but speaking of Jayson a little bit more, one thing I'm always interested in is just how his place in the offense looks, specifically in the half court. And, they still ran some down screens for him. He did have a few more early possession attempts where he was trying to take like Tobias or PJ Tucker off the dribble, and his handle, it still looked like his handle. I mean, there was this one play in the second half where he had this like really awesome behind the back move on Tobias and then like a slight hesitation in for a layup. And then he had another one on PJ Tucker, I think in the first half, where the handle was a little high for a second, but he got it under control and then he made this sort of like kind of wild floater. So I think the Jaylen Brown ball handling experience is going to continue as it's been. It overall is still a positive, but there are definitely moments of like, well, you almost lost that, but you still got the bucket, so I can't really complain too much. As for Tatum, man, that was one of the most comfortable games I've seen from Jayson Tatum, because at the beginning of some seasons, he does this thing where he just has a tough time finishing at the basket. It was not the problem last night. He also had this one great play against Embiid on a drop where he kept his dribble low, and then he crosses over, and then he hits this like running floater, and it's like, oh, that was new. One of the fouls he drew, it started with him kind of barreling into PJ Tucker and able to knock him off his spot, which I don't know if Tatum would have been able to do a few years ago. There was another where Niang was kind of all over him on a screen, and then Tatum kind of pulled like a Jimmy Butler, where he just kept on going, and then before you know it, him and Niang are wrapped up, and he drew a foul, and he also had a number of tough mid-rangers, which I'm sure the Sixers would tell themselves, we can bank on the math on that sort of thing. He'll still make a few, but yeah, he looked great. And as far as Malcolm Brogdon, look, I remember one play where it was a kick after Tatum kind of took Montrez off the dribble, and then he ended up with the ball in the corner, and he pump fakes, he takes like two dribbles in, he ends up with a layup, and it's like, yeah, that was not as reliable of a thing last year. Just having that one extra guy where if the ball ends up in his hands, it's not going to immediately stop. It might be a three. It might be him making the next part of the play happen. He had like a layup, I think, early fourth quarter where he just kind of took it himself. I think he took Maxi off the dribble and he made it. Now let's get to Philly. So James Harden, of course, looks slimmer. That's good. He terrorized the Celtics, especially in the first half with the step back, whether it was them fouling him or him making it, or one time where it was a 4-point play. Even though Philly lost the game, I think they should walk away from this one feeling pretty optimistic about their offense. I mean, Embiid, like, sure, the Celtics had the moments where they were able to strip the ball away from him or swarm him in the post. But even so, like, he had success when he was in the middle of the floor, especially. And also, whenever he was screening, whether it was for Harden or Maxi, it seemed like the Celtics had a tougher time there. I mean, there was a great bounce pass that Harden threw to Embiid while Noah Vonleh was in drop coverage. And I do want to talk about the Embiid Maxi two-man game. So they had themselves quite a few handoff actions reminiscent of what Embiid would do with Seth Curry and JJ Redick. And yeah, Maxi's got the pull-up, and he's also got way more burst off the dribble than those two. So he might be able to do even a little bit more in some of those actions. But there was also this one where Embiid, he faked the handoff to Maxi, then he went into the post, and then Brogdon kind of like dug in just for a second to make him think about it. And then in that 1 second, Embiid threw it to Maxi, and Maxi got himself a three. The threat of these three guys is real. I mean, with Embiid, it's like you really have to think about when you want to switch that. And if you're going to switch, then you're going to have to scramble like crazy to crowd him. And then from there, look, Harden, Maxi, and then, of course, they made the moves with PJ Tucker and Daniel House, and Tobias can make a shot. Like, Philly's offense should be really, really good. Defensively, neither team had a great night. I think the Sixers, maybe they could have been a little more aggressive on Tatum and Jaylen at times. And as for the Celtics, again, when bodies are moving on the Sixers, I think it's going to be tough to guard these guys. As for the other game, so the Warriors, they look like the Warriors. There you go. They should, look, they're my finals pick, so there you go. I should say that I'm intrigued by DiVincenzo and JaMychal Green as additions to the team. DiVincenzo had a few turnovers last night, but, one of them was a offensive foul when he set a screen, but he set a screen. That's intriguing. That's a very Warriors thing to do for a guard. He had a great pick and roll with Wiseman. I think DiVincenzo just fits into the DNA of this team. And as for JaMychal Green, I mean, just another power forward slash center who can hopefully just make an open three. He made 2 of them last night. I mean, for his career, he's been good from 3, even if he doesn't take a whole lot. And defensively, he knows where to be. That's why he's been in the league so long. Although my favorite little JaMychal moment last night was when he was in the post and he had a skip pass to DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo missed the 3, and then JaMychal got the offensive board, threw it back out to Clay, and it's just like, yeah, this makes sense. As far as the Lakers, so the big thing so far today has been the 3-pointers. They shot 10 for 40, I believe. And, look, some of them are rough. I mean, Pat Bev taking an ISO 3 early in a possession, don't like that. But you've also just got a whole lot of possessions where the Warriors are basically like, we're going to crowd the paint, we trust that we're going to get a good closeout, and also we're not that scared of your shooters anyway. To attempt to be a little positive for the Lakers, the Warriors are maybe the best team in the league at this, but still the template's there. I mean, there was a play in the first quarter where Anthony Davis brought it up, and then he flips it to Lonnie Walker, immediately sets him a screen. And AD actually had the lob, but Walker didn't see him. But also, Wiggins was digging in so hard from the top of the key, basically daring Walker to throw it to Westbrook for a 3, that it was clearly just going to be the first thing that Lonnie Walker saw, right? So he throws it to Westbrook, he misses the 3, and I'm not trying to do some blame Westbrook for the loss. That was just one play that I remember. I mean, there was another play I just saw where Westbrook gets a screen from Wenyen Gabriel, and you got Wiseman in a drop, you got Kuminga fighting around the screen, you've got JaMychal Green daring Juan Toscano-Anderson to shoot in the corner, and pretty much the only option was a pass to him because the paint was so cramped. And I guess that's the other thing with the Lakers offense right now. It's like they attempted 43s in this game. And no, I'm not saying that they should be towards the bottom of the league in 3-point shot attempts or whatever, because then at that point you're just playing a different game than everybody else. But when you look at this roster, I don't think you want the number to be 40. I mean, that number last year would have put you like second in the league in 3-point attempts per game. And so it's on the Lakers to make it to where they have guys positioned on the floor allows them to still get those shots at the rim. Now, with that said, I mean, look, LeBron took a few threes that you don't love last night, and I do think there were some interesting plays, like LeBron screened for Russ a few times, and it resulted in some good stuff. There was one play where, like, Austin Reeves screened for LeBron, and he got the ball in the middle of the floor because they trapped LeBron. He made a split-second kick out to, I believe, Kendrick Nunn for 3 on the wing. LeBron had a screen from AD. He throws it to Lonnie Walker in the corner. Walker takes 2 dribbles in, lobs it up to AD. There were little things here and there, but overall, the shooting is what it is on this team. And I've already seen a little bit of, you got to trade for Buddy Hield now and all that stuff. And, well, that's just, we're going to be hearing that all season, so okay.